All right, today we're diving into something that's, well, a pretty major evolution in AI. We're talking about moving beyond assistants that just tell you stuff to actual partners that can do stuff for you. And that's all about something called Agentic RAG.
You know that feeling, right? You ask a chatbot a question, you get an answer, and that's it. You're just kind of left there feeling like something's missing. The conversation just dies. It's helpful, sure, but it doesn't really get you all the way there.
Okay, let's take a classic example. A new employee asks a simple question, right? How often is training? And the chatbot says, brand guide training is on the last Monday of the month. Now that's technically correct, but it just opens up a whole new can of worms, doesn't it? Is that training for me? When is the next one? How do I even sign up? This is what we call the now what problem. The AI gave you a fact, but it didn't give you a solution.
So to figure out how we solve that now what problem, we kind of have to pop the hood and see what's going on inside. If we want to understand where AI is headed, we first have to get a handle on the tech that's powering most of those fact-based chatbots we're all using right now.
And that technology is called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or just RAG for short. Now, this is a really big deal. RAG is basically what stops large language models from just making stuff up. It hooks the AI up to a real knowledge base, finds the right info, and then uses that to build an answer that's actually accurate.
The best way to think about it is this. Traditional RAG is like a phenomenal librarian. Seriously, it can find the exact book, the right page, even the perfect paragraph you need in a split second. But that's where its job stops. It can't read the book for you. It can't understand what it means for your specific problem, and it definitely can't take the next step. It's just a passive fact finder.
But what if you could give that amazing librarian a brain and a set of hands? Well, that's where the AI agent steps in, and trust me, this is a total game changer.
See, an AI agent isn't just about finding facts. It's a doer. It uses a large language model as its brain, its reasoning engine, to figure out a goal, come up with a plan, and then, and this is the critical part, it actually uses tools to get the job done.
And this is what makes an agent so incredibly different. It's not just sitting there waiting to answer your questions. It's actively working towards a goal you give it. It can tap into tools, like your calendar or a company database. And it does all this on its own, autonomously, changing its plan on the fly as new info comes in.
Okay, so we've got our super smart librarian, RAG, and we've got our proactive, get-it-done AI agent. So what happens when you smash them together? Well, that's when things get really interesting. This right here is Agentic RAG. So instead of that simple one-way street we had before, you now have an autonomous agent completely in charge. It's running the whole show, deciding what info it needs, thinking about what it finds, and then, most importantly, actually taking action. And this chart really just lays it all out. Traditional RAG, it gets one shot. It makes a query, and if that doesn't work, tough luck. Agentic RAG, on the other hand, is iterative. If the first search fails, the agent can actually think, that didn't work. Let me try something else. It has this self-checking loop that makes it way more reliable, a lot more like how you or I would actually try to solve a problem. And looking at it visually, the shift is just massive. We're moving away from a simple one-way street, ask, find, answer, and into this dynamic, intelligent loop. The agent's reasoning helps it find better information, and that new information makes its reasoning even smarter. It's this awesome, continuous cycle of thinking and doing. All right, so that's the theory. Sounds pretty cool, right? But what does this actually look like in practice? Let's circle back to our new employee and that question about training. So the employee asked the question, but this time, instead of just a dumb database lookup, our router agent jumps into action. It looks at the context, who is this employee, what's their role, when did they start, and it realizes, hey, this isn't just a general question. So it sends the request over to a specialist, the employee training agent. That agent then gets to work, using its tools to access the HR database and the company calendar to put together a response that's actually useful. And here it is, the big payoff. The answer isn't just a fact anymore, it's an action. The agent figured out that this employee needed the training. It found the next available session, and it went ahead and put it right on their calendar. It didn't just answer the question, it solved the whole dang problem.
Now, as you can imagine, solving the entire problem is a much bigger job than just spitting out a fact. And all that extra power, well, it comes with a few trade-offs you've got to think about.
For starters, cost. Every one of those extra thinking steps and queries uses more computing power, and that means it costs more money. Then there's speed, or latency. It can sometimes take a bit longer to get a response because the agent is literally doing more work. And finally, there's complexity. Let's be honest, building one of these systems is a lot more involved than setting up a simple RAG pipeline.
So, with all that, why would you do it? Well, because the payoff is just massive. We're talking about a staggering 78% reduction in errors in enterprise situations when you compare it to traditional RAG. I mean, that is a huge leap in how much you can actually trust your AI.
But look, being reliable doesn't mean much if the system is painfully slow, right? And that latency issue is a real concern. But the good news is, it's not an unsolvable problem. People are coming up with really smart ways to speed things up. Take semantic caching. That can make things up to 15 times faster by just remembering answers to similar questions. Or batch processing, which can speed things up by 50%. The bottom line is, we're getting way smarter about making these powerful systems perform.
So let's zoom out a bit. What does all of this really mean for the future of how we interact with AI?
What we're seeing with Agentic RAG isn't just another small step forward. No, this is a fundamental shift in our relationship with AI. We're truly moving from a world where we ask AI for facts to a world where we give AI goals to achieve. It's the difference between a search engine and a real active partner.
And honestly, this quote just nails it. The future of AI isn't just about retrieving more and more information. It's about taking meaningful action. It's about letting our AI systems take what they find and actually use it to make a difference in the real world.
Which brings us to one last question to leave you with. For years, we've all been learning how to ask AI the right kinds of questions to get the facts we need. But as these systems change from being passive librarians into active doers, the whole game changes. The possibilities just explode. So the real question isn't what can I ask my AI anymore? It's what problems am I going to ask it to solve?